Hey friends, this is the Break Time Podcast. We just talk about whatever the hell we feel like talking about. We talk about something and then we talk about something else. I'm Jake, and as every single time, as always, no exceptions, I'm joined by only Ryan. Hey Ryan.
Well, I mean, I am the person who is here every week. If anything, the two, well, actually, no. I am the person who is here every week. I'm kind of I orchestrate everything. I'm the reason that this podcast is going. So
Yeah,
I'm
we're
here.
just like the strange people who occasionally go in the van.
Yeah, I'm the actual as always. Meanwhile, like,
Yeah.
Eric is the
Yeah, you're
kind
the
of
candy
maybe.
salesman, always in the strange van, and we're the children who occasionally enter.
I don't like that analogy at all, because that makes me...
You don't? We get candy.
The candy man in the strange van?
Yeah, you could always trust him.
I don't think you can. That's like the person that you trust the least.
Why not, man? He's got Snickers.
Yeah, but what if the Snickers has razor blades? Or what if
Then you could sharpen your teeth at the same time. It's dental
No,
care.
that's not what that does. That's bad.
Sure it does. That's how I became a lizard, man.
What? What are you talking about?
I ate the razor Snicker.
You ate the razor Snicker and you became...
Yeah, and then I became a lizard man with pointy teeth. It also forked my tongue.
That's also very weird. I've
Yeah,
always
man,
been interested. I've always been interested in that because, like, as I used to think it was kind of scary growing up, but thinking about it, it is like an interesting thing that you can do to your tongue, the split tongue thing.
No.
And then the people who end up getting the split tongue thing can control each side of the tongue individually.
Really? I had no idea the tongue works
They
that
can,
way.
yeah. You can. It's very interesting to see that because, I mean, I guess without a split tongue, you're like kind of set in like this is how the tongue moves. It's all
Yeah,
It's
you
kinda
do
like
kind of have it as a strict ideal.
it is a single entity. It can't be split. You can't control the left and the right sides individually. Like, how do you even do something like that?
I don't know. I
The
guess
people with
it'd
split
probably be a
tongues can.
similar feeling to is if I got the surgery, which I probably won't because it's not really a problem because I'm tongue-tied, which means the little, string base membrane thing that connects your tongue
What?
to the base of your mouth, that extends all the way to the end of my tongue. So
Really?
I basically can't whistle or press my tongue on the top of my mouth without completely closing my mouth. And I can't stick out my
Huh.
tongue very far out my mouth
I
because
see.
the little attacher gets stuck in my teeth.
Huh.
So I imagine I'd learn a whole new base range of motion if I got the surgery for that, but it's like,
I don't even know if it would be possible for you though. Then, because if you don't have a whole lot of tongue to cleave, that's a really bad word for that. To split. Let's go with split instead. Cleave.
no, I
is
mean
what
it'd be a
happens.
similar range of motion if I got the surgery that makes you not tongue tied anymore.
Oh,
It'd probably be a
that's
similar
interesting.
learning experience where it's like, what? Your tongue can go all the way out of the mouth? I actually have
Yeah,
no
no.
idea how big my tongue is because I can't remove it from my mouth.
The split tongue thing is that thing. The cleave tongue is what happens when you try to eat a Snickers bar that a razor blade was
Yeah,
in
yeah,
because
yeah.
you took the Snickers bar from a strange man in a van. Who
Yeah, it's free
apparently is
surgery.
me.
And you get a Snickers.
It's not free. It's bad. It's
There's no price or downside.
no. It's mutilation that was not voluntary.
It was voluntary. You chose to eat the Snickers.
You didn't know that was gonna be in the Snickers.
No, I do.
though.
I do.
How?
I asked the
You-
guy, and he said yes.
Why
there
would
is
a
a
strange
razor
man
blade.
admit that there's a razor blade in his Snickers?
I mean, he's not a liar.
You sure? I feel like the strange man in the candy van is usually a liar.
Nah, this one wasn't. I trust him
Why this specific one? Is it
because
it's
this is the
me?
one I chose to enter. I did my research.
You went inside the strange man's candy van.
Yeah, because I did my research on rival strange Candyman, and this is the one I trusted the most.
What is there like a Yelp? Are there Yelp reviews?
Yeah, there's
for
Yelp reviews.
strange candy man.
Yeah,
vans?
he's one. Yeah,
Interesting.
Mm.
I didn't
it's a
even
whole
realize
business.
that. This is like 3 out of 10 found a razor blade in my Starburst.
Oh no, that was the reason that the one I went to got like a 3.5, 4. So I'm like, that's pretty good. It was in my local area, so you
God, this is very bad.
know. Yeah, that's how I went about my weekend. How's yours been?
It's been all right. I'm not entirely sure what to talk about, considering that I feel like not a whole lot has happened since last week.
I guess there's a bunch of game announcements that people were excited about, right?
There were.
All the E3 stuff. I don't know. It's like I feel like
Summer
I get
Game
more and
Fest,
more
whatever.
jaded on it every single year because I feel like the most excited things are indies, and then
Mhm.
like all the news about indies is like, guess what? One of the giant game companies bought our company. We will do the same thing. And I'm like, why do I care?
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is that it takes a lot for me to kind of get invested or interested in a video game.
Mhm.
And the announcements that they have just don't tickle my fancy all that much. The most notable thing that I remember from like the most recent event that I watched of that type for Summer Games Fest was, oh cool, they're showing off the RE4 remake.
Mhm.
That was about it though, because it's not like I'm interested in RE4, but I'm not exactly a person who has played Resident Evil at all in the past and or like
Mhm.
specifically fell in love with Resident Evil 4. Now, if they had come out and said, "Hey, look, Devil May Cry 6 is coming out," or maybe Devil May Cry 5, the Ladies Night DLC expansion is coming out. Like, I don't know, 10 new missions and Lady and Trish are both playable now. That would be something that I'm interested in
Yeah.
because I like Devil May Cry a lot. I am very much immersed in the Devil May Cry stuff. I like that. That's my favorite Capcom franchise next to like I wouldn't even say that I'm an avid Street Fighter fan, despite me liking fighting games, because it's I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think of all the Capcom stuff, I'm the biggest fan of like Monster Hunter probably. But it's like a love hate. There's
Mhm.
a lot of things I like about Monster Hunter, but a lot of things that are just like terrible about Monster Hunter.
Like,
It's like it's good because I feel like the combat is very fun. It's really fun to collect stuff, pieces of monsters, and then craft more stuff. It's really it's a great like beat crap up, get 0.01% stronger, repeat kind of loop. It feels good, and I mean that genuinely. Like it's a great grind. Um, but there's also just like so many things the game does that like waste so much of your time. It's like it's awful because they're like 5% away from having like an excellent game, but there's so many incredibly obvious, egregious problems that they've just like never fixed throughout the entire history of the series, you know?
hmm, I
It's just
wonder about
upsetting.
that. I guess I don't. I honestly can't say anything one way or the other because, as I say, a lot of Capcom franchises I'm not that heavily invested in. I mean, I've seen Monster Hunter stuff, but it's more like, oh, cool, that looks cool, but I'll probably never play it kind of thing.
Yeah, I think
Um,
that's an honest, good opinion to have of Monster Hunter. I think it takes too much time for how fun it is to be worth it, unless you're like in a group of people. The other thing is, I think it's one of the better multiplayer action games around,
mhm.
and that's just because there's like, I mean, I guess hot take is there's not a lot of great multiplayer action games around. At
I
least of
can
that
hardly think
genre,
of
like the long term, like I want to play with a group for like,
like
a
this is your
lot of
Monster
different
Hunter group,
sessions, you
yeah.
know?
Mm-hmm. It's like, all right, time to take down Rathalos number 5. You can obviously tell how much I know about Monster
No, that's
Hunter
like a true
anything.
opinion. You kill whoever the fuck you want. You can kill Rathalos
Yeah.
infinite amount of times.
It's all right. All right, guys. It's time to go and kill Mega Giga Rathalos Metal Greymon.
You know, actually, you're pretty close. The one you're looking for is oh shoot, it's either golden or silver Rathalos.
What?
There's a gold and silver version of Rathalos and Rathian, one of each. I forget which is which. So that stupid comment actually has quite a bit of merit.
I mean,
I mean,
I
it
mean,
is
I
Capcom.
it is.
Never
They're very
forget.
well known for. I'm actually. Oh
Arcade
yeah,
Gold Edition.
they're known for their palette swaps of various
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
The most famous of these being Ryu and Ken. That's the palette swap that I understand. However, over the years, Ken and Ryu have very much
Mhm.
differentiated themselves.
Yo,
And yeah, and then but I don't know. I don't know what the difference is between silver, gold, and metal
just
war,
more HP and
Greymon.
like 1.2 times faster or something. Some generic thing to
Uh,
make them harder to fight. It wasn't that
I
interesting.
see.
That was at the end of Monster Hunter World, and that's about when I quit.
Hmm. I mean, it's makes sense. You can definitely recycle things and make
Yeah.
it a slightly harder challenge, and get you'd kind of be able to churn out more content because of it.
Oh yeah, I
and
don't say it like entirely critically. I understand when I did it. It's a game about like having the illusion of you could infinitely play this game forever, you know? It's the
that
MMO
makes
that's not
sense.
really an MMO. It's kind of like
I
Diablo.
I know if you hunt like the same monsters in order to get rare drops, and those rare drops can be used to craft new armor and such, various different
Yeah,
goods
that's
to
it.
make yourself stronger or look different. So I guess that's the incentive to continue,
Yeah.
slay the same
And
monster
then
over
like
and
there's a
over
bunch
again.
of it's basically an action game with a bunch of different weapons, and every weapon is like a radically different action game moveset. So like if
Yeah.
you like any action games, you can usually find at least one weapon you want. And then if you want to like try a new weapon, you have to like get all the monster parts to like change your weapon and try that one. And maybe since the armor has abilities, find some new armor that synergizes with your new weapon. So if you're still
Hmm.
interested in it, there's basically always more game to play, is like the fun thing.
I
And you could
see.
do this all with different people. So one person in the group will be like, "Hey man, I need to hunt down a Rathalos so I could finish my bow." And they're like, "Hell yeah!" And you all go out and hunt a Rathalos. And then one guy thinks, "I have so many Rathalos parts. What do I want to do with it? I know, make a hammer." You know, it's just a great time all around multiplayer wise. Even if the shortcomings, I think, hold it back from being a great game instead of like a good game.
Hmm. Huh. I'm not sure how to respond to that. As I said, I don't think I'm able to say anything one way or another
Oh yeah,
concerning Monster Hunter.
that's reasonable. I
Hmm.
Monster Hunter World was very popular, and I think made it much more popular than it was here, but I still think it's a fairly niche game.
Makes
And I
sense.
think it's for a reason. I think it's too chunky for its own good.
But they did something must have happened somehow.
Oh yeah,
They got it to.
World was much more popular, I think. I think basically just because it was the first one advertised as like a normal game instead of like this niche thing only hardcore fans would like. And it was a console release instead of like every single other one was portable, I think, since like the first one.
Yeah, I do remember that. There are a
Even though
couple
it's
that
like
released on
totally a
the
game that just
PSP.
doesn't lend itself to being portable. Because you have these like missions that are like a half hour long, strictly. And you can't pause it because it's multiplayer.
Yeah,
And then they're like, yes, this is a portable game.
they wanted you to be able to meet up with other people and
Yeah,
play
yeah.
it. It's actually a common sight that I see in a lot of the Japanese animes because you see like the scenes where everyone's got their PSP out and they're all
Mhm.
doing call outs and you see then they of course because they can't use actual Monster Hunter it's something that
Yeah, it's
looks
something
kind
almost
of
like.
like
Oh, yeah,
Monster
I know it's
Hunter.
much more popular in Japan than here, for sure.
Yeah.
Like above and beyond.
Well, the other thing is that it's a different environment. Japan, a lot of stuff is much closer together. People, they go out and
Mm.
they do meet people to, just run these raids or these missions with. I don't know the lingo for Monster Hunter.
Yeah, I don't know. Close enough.
But yeah, it's features like that that definitely it's features kind of like that or it being a portable system because I'm assuming that in Japan the PSP was probably more popular than the home console PlayStations because it's a portable system and Japan is a hustle bustle gotta be somewhere kind of place.
Gotta be somewhere.
Yeah, and that reminds me of the 3DS. One of the Nintendo 3DS's functions called Street Pass, where if you just have your DS on and you have it in like your pocket and it's closed or something like
Oh
that.
yeah, and then it like interacts with the other people around you. I think I heard
Yeah,
about that.
yeah, and it's supposed to be like you're just walking down the street and you exchange information with someone who also happens to have a 3DS in their pocket and it's on. They have Street Pass turned on and all that stuff. But that's when it feels very much like this is definitely like a Japan thing
Yeah,
because
it's
in
actually so
Japan,
weird. Like in the states, it feels like the portable console. Like I can't imagine after the Switch, like another portable console coming out and being like even remotely successful. You know what I mean? Like a purely portable one. Because the
mhm,
Switch, I feel like was advertised very well here as like it's kind of a portable console, but really it's just a console that you like bring somewhere and then you do it once you're there, and maybe you could also do it portable. It's like
yeah,
somehow in I guess the States specifically is all I really know about it. Feels like portable in general was just like entirely replaced by smartphones. It's just like there's no room for a portable somehow.
Yeah. That there's things like that, and with the success of the Switch everywhere, and the Switch being advertised as kind of like a home console when it's docked, but a portable console otherwise, it kind of hit the best of both worlds.
Yeah, it just like ate the entire market.
Yeah, so why would Nintendo even bother going back on it? It's the Switch is the best thing they ever thought of.
Yeah, I like. I mean, this is probably going to be something that ages poorly, and they'll be like, get a load of these 2022 gents who don't know anything about the future, but like, I genuinely couldn't imagine another portable console like ever doing well that isn't like either basically a home console or basically a phone.
Yeah, because I mean, going back to Street Pass, it's very, for some reason, it always struck me as kind of being improbable that you'll run into someone or pass someone on the street or wherever you are, at least where we live, where you'd ever like come across new people that also have their 3DS and have a 3DS and have Street Pass turned on. The only time I got a lot of Street Passes when I was just walking around school, because that's, it's a bunch of adolescents just walking around. They were bound to have some amount of video game stuff if they have one, so I got a lot of Street Passes when I, was in high school or something like that. But otherwise, like, I don't know, I lived in the burbs. Like,
yeah, I mean, in the suburbs, it's like, there's really nothing. I felt a similar thing, like, when Pokemon Go was huge. It's like, within my house, within a mile, there was, like, 2 Pokestops, and, like, one gym,
Honestly, I was surprised that my neighborhood had any Pokestops. I mean, I guess I have to have some in case, there are people, inevitably there will be people who want to play it who do live in the suburbs. And so, of course, you have to have something somewhere to give them a resource to walk to.
I guess it's, like, a very different experience if you're living closer to a downtown area. It's like the best Pokemon Go experience I had, and the only time where I really played it at all was when I was in college. It was, I guess in the States, the closest thing you could have to like mixed housing, actually living in a mixed residential downtown area with like dense housing, is like living in college, like an actual walkable city. It's like the only thing you can do in America is go to college.
That's probably it. Because like there's just not a lot of time where I think it'd be probable or you'd pass by someone just on the street. However, if you go to like Japan, like everything is, everything is connected by way of the trains. And so inevitably, if everyone has to go through the train, and a lot of people have 3DSs, you're gonna street pass with a bunch of people, and chances are you're going to get different people every single time, because I don't know, maybe... Or you might get the same people. If 2 people take like the same train at the same time at the same station, chances are on different days they're going to just street pass with each other a lot.
Yeah, I mean, in a day, it's probable that you'll fucking pass someone who has one of those like pedometers from like Pokemon, like Gold and Silver, I think. That was like
the remakes.
Yeah, that you strap them on your wrist and then you walk. Someone probably using one of those within a 100-mile radius.
Yeah. It's much more believable. Yeah, of course, that was in a time when things did not have global releases yet. In the case of Nintendo games especially, what would happen is Japan would get the game early, and then later is when the game would release overseas. But for actually nowadays...
Yeah, that's much less common now, I think.
Yeah. I haven't seen a game come out where it comes out in one place and then comes out in other places later.
Honestly, I think that's true for the States and Japan, but I think for like Europe, Australia, and South America, that's still generally very true. So I think it's just like the efficiency of localization between America and Japan has become very efficient, is honestly my primary guess.
Yeah.
Or they've like been studying enough market data that we're like an equivalent share.
It could also be an awareness on like the impact that a staggered worldwide release kind of has, where in the case the only thing I can think of in this case is fighting games, because if a game releases in Japan and then it releases elsewhere months later, perhaps anywhere from 2 months to like a year later, the thing is that all the Japanese players now have a leg up because they got the game earlier than everyone else. and then everyone else is kind of at a disadvantage.
Yeah, and it's
Albeit
always
not
entertaining
crazy.
too, because all the big American streamers that played the Japanese games just like have a Japanese copy of the game, and they're like, "Yeah, I don't know what any of this says. I've just memorized what each button is." You know?
Well, in a time like that, that was kind of necessary if you wanted to compete in tournament and be
Yeah,
competitive.
that's just what you had to do.
You needed to have that. You needed to have the same experience as everyone else, and so you would have to go for the Japanese copy because you need to learn the game when tournaments start coming rolling around.
Yeah, like I can't like casually think of a single fighting game streamer who doesn't have a Japanese copy of Exord.
Yeah, because they need to know how Guilty Gear is going. They can't just wait for the Western release or the overseas release. They need it. They need to know. Oh right, like I'm an X2 plus R Slayer main. I want a main Slayer in Exard. Better. I need to know what Slayer's doing immediately. Otherwise, people are going to be
Better
able to know what
start
Slayer
Mappa
does.
punching right now.
Yeah. I don't know why I specifically went to Slayer. It might just be because I play Slayer in Exard.
Hey, Slayer's a great time. I think
is
everyone
fun.
at least partially plays Slayer, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't know why I didn't like him immediately, because I don't know what I don't know
You
what
thought
it
he was
but for
just
some
a brute,
reason.
but then you learned just a brute extremely fun.
It is fun, but he's I don't know, he's a more strategic kind of slightly brute than say Jam or Soul. Or
I mean,
something.
you were long term a Kai player, and then it was
I
only when I
was.
was playing with you where you were first flirting with the idea of playing not Kai, and you're like, maybe is it Jam? Nah, it's not Jam. But then Slayer was it.
Yeah. Slayer's fun.
Yeah,
I like him a lot.
when I was playing with you, I had experimented a lot. I think I played Slayer, Soul, and Sin. But then I after times have changed, we fell on hard times, and then suddenly I just woke up. Well, didn't wake up, and I was a Bedman main. I don't know how it happened. That's just actually a character I would never play in a fighting game, except for
You
some
fell
reason I
asleep
wanted
and
to.
suddenly you were Bedman.
Yeah, I genuinely don't know how it happens. I went from just in every fighting game almost only playing rushdowns and shotos, and it's just yep, but in this one I play Bedman. And I have no idea why.
Obviously, you must find something engaging or fun about him.
Yeah, I don't know, it's just cool and fun to play around with. It's like how in platform fighters, I for some reason always play the Jigglypuff clones or the super annoying zoners with great recoveries, and I'm like, what? This is 0% what I do in any other fighting game. But in platform fighters, it just feels good.
You like to control space.
I like to just be an annoying little bastard.
Exclusively. Yeah.
I like the opponent to actively cheer every time they manage to hit me just because I'm so annoying. I want to have to apologize after every match. Whether I won or lost. I guess different games, different interests.
Yeah, I mean, if I think about it, and I consider the characters that I immediately gravitated towards in most fighting games I've played, I'm Marth main and Smash.
Yeah, you're a swordy player.
I'm a sword person who's the mid-range kind of character, but also fast. I don't know, something about Marth.
Good at neutral, JPEG.
Good at neutral, boxing the opponent out, but not afraid. Don't need, as long as you have good spacing, you can also play kind of a rushdown play style. But then I don't know, for some reason, the only thing I can sort of surmise is my trend among all the characters I play in fighting games is that for some reason I tend to like pretty boys.
Lovely.
Because if I think about it, pretty some amount of stylish, pretty.
Well, they're always the ones with swords. They're always the ones that fit your description.
Not always, though, because okay, let's see. Marth and Smash. Kai was the first character I gravitated towards in Guilty Gear. I stopped doing that. However,
who did you play when you played a lot of Street Fighter V?
When Street Fighter V, I played Charlie Nash, who I thought was really. I thought he was pretty, so I thought he was cool.
Nice.
Yeah, so I think Charlie Nash also fits the description of pretty boy, because a lot of characters acknowledge that, oh man, Charlie's so
Looking good
handsome.
today, Charles.
Yeah, he's a pretty handsome dude, even when he's all stapled together and skin grafted and parts
Yes,
of him are
so
rotting.
he gets weird sometimes.
But he is still cool. And his hair is really interesting. I would like to see what they do with Charlie if they put him in Street Fighter 6, honestly. Because in Street Fighter 5, they made it very clear to differentiate Guile from Charlie. Because essentially in the Alpha series, when Charlie was the Guile replacement, he was just Guile. The only difference was like his animations, where Guile needs 2 hands to fire a sonic boom. Charlie only needs 1.
Yeah, Charlie's just cool. We're okay.
Yeah. Or his flash kick, the flash kick shell, or the somersault shell, is 2 hits. Meanwhile, Guile's is only 1. Because Guile uses 1 leg, and Charlie kicks with both legs.
Oh,
also,
yeah.
I also think that Charlie's somersault kick is way cooler.
I mean, is that an opinion? That's objectively true.
Is it true?
Yeah, it's
Have
2
you seen his
kicks, that's
somersault
just
kick?
cooler.
Yeah. It's kicks, but the thing is that what he does is, you know how Guile does a backflip, right? Charlie's is different. He turns around, and he does a somersault, a forward somersault while facing away, and then he rises up somehow to kick twice.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so, it's a cooler looking somersault kick. And I don't, but then in Street Fighter V, they made Charlie a different kind of take on the Sonic Boom character, where he's got motions now and he has a bit more stuff than Guile does. He has the Sonic Scythe, which is
he kind
kick.
of defined himself as the less defensive Guile, I thought.
Yeah, he's a much more aggro Guile. He's fast. And he's cool. and I want to see what he does again. Oh yeah, have you seen any of the discourse that's been going on ever since they showed off that Guile in Street Fighter 6 has just frame booms and flash kicks?
No, people have been wild about that or something.
I wouldn't think it'd be that divisive, because it's a reward for good execution. It's not like you need to do the just frame booms and somersault
to define
kicks.
I'm from context that you just told me, guessing that the move is better if you time it exactly with your charge input.
Yeah.
Is that what that means?
I think so. I don't know exactly what the input would be, but apparently people were complaining. It's like, what the heck? I thought you were going to make the game easier. What's this stupid bullshit where Guile needs to do a good input?
Modern controls, you always get it.
I don't think that'd be the case. I think if you do it with the modern controls, you always get the normal boom and flash kick. But
I don't know. I don't mean to sound pretentious or anything, but I feel like in times when I'm playing a charge character, it's impossible not to be extremely close to how long it takes to charge something. At first, definitely not, but after playing the character for a reasonable amount of time, it's just an essential part of playing it. I don't know. You don't even think about it. It really fucks you up when you go from fighting game to fighting game, though, because the charge times are always different.
Yeah, I mean, what the heck is it supposed to mean, though? Does it mean that if you
I thought it would just be if you're within a frame or two of, when the charge becomes active and you use it, it's, a better move.
Oh.
That was how I interpreted that.
That makes
not
sense.
How you did?
I thought it would be more you charge the move, and then your forward or your up input plus the button you want are close enough together where you get the plus frame, or not the plus frame, the just frame boom, or flash kick. I don't know what it is, though. I don't know if it's you need to know the exact charge time, or if it's you need to time the two final inputs up against each other. Because I'm thinking of, in Guilty Gear, Ramlethal's Dauro, her lunge forward uppercut kind of looking move that launches.
Oh yeah, I know that.
Where if you just frame it, it actually launches higher, and so the idea behind using Dauro with Ramlethal...
Wait, what does just framing mean in that game?
In that one, it's timing the diagonal down forward input of her DP with the punch button.
That's so weird.
So if you hit down forward and punch at the same time, you get the launching higher Dauro.
That's interesting, because I feel like in doing normal inputs, I specifically try to avoid doing that, so I get the input I want.
I don't know exactly, but I know for a fact that's how you get just frame Dauro.
Yeah, I never played Ram in anything, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how much. I mean, I can admit. The thing is that going back to Dauro, I mean, I'll probably go back to just frame Guile in a bit, but I know that in Exard, the just frame Dauro was beneficial or detrimental based on the character you're fighting. where you
So it's
need
kind
to
of
know,
like a choice to do it.
Yeah, you need to know which Darrow you want in order to continue your combo. I'm assuming what happens is if you use the Just Frame Darrow on a lightweight character, they probably get launched too high where you can't combo them properly afterwards.
Yeah.
But you might need the Just Frame one on a heavier character so that you can actually do a combo off of them.
Sounds
Because it's possible
reasonable to
that
me.
the normal Darrow won't work. But in the case of Guile, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
there's
strict-
often not a lot of that intricate of stuff in like any Street Fighter game, really. Usually the like high-end hardest stuff in the game is just like you have a 1 frame or 2 frame link for this chain that does slightly more damage, you know. Usually it's nothing more than that.
I don't know what exactly the Just Frame thing is. I was assuming it was like you needed to hit, if you want like the Just Frame Sonic Boom, you hit forward and punch at the same time.
Yeah,
in
I
order to
mean,
get
if a just frame
Perfect!
auto charge input has been in a different fighting game before, I guess it's that definition. I just never even heard of that as a concept.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you do, in Tekken, the Electric Wind God Fist. In order to get the better one, I think you hit the last directional input and the button at the same time, and then you get that one. I don't know exactly.
Yeah, I've
'Cause
been
I'm
caught
not
red-handed. I've never played Tekken.
I've played a little of it, but I did not play a character who had an Electric Wind God Fist. So I don't know either. And I also only played it briefly and hardly played online because ass online. But
Yeah, I hate to see it, man.
in the case of Street Fighter, I mean, I'm not much of a Guile person, to be honest. I was never really all that into Guile. Because, I don't know, I liked the guy who taught him more, because Charlie's way cooler. He's got glasses.
Charlie is cooler than Guile, that's true.
Yeah, Charlie is extremely cool. Even when he was like half a zombie, and also they just completely made him die for no reason, and it was stupid.
Yeah, more on brand for what characters I usually like. The only Street Fighter character I've really been passionate about playing and enjoying was Third Strike Makoto. It's just so fun because she's just a gorilla who just like her dash is just like a fucking Slayer Slayer teleport and just appears next to you and then either grabs you by the neck and chokes you or beats the shit out of you, and it's just like, hello.
I am here now.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just endlessly entertaining.
Does Yang count as a pretty boy character?
He's pretty pretty.
He is.
He doesn't
very
play
pretty.
like most pretty boy characters, though. I think.
Well, no, pretty boy is not it's not a play style. It's more like just an appearance
I'm thinking
thing.
about the pretty boy character, and they're usually like a balanced character. I feel like.
I guess Marth, Kai. Does Charlie count?
I would give that to Charlie, yeah.
But yeah, and then you have Yang, who I like. I don't like you, and I like Yang a lot more. His
Yang
hair's
is
cool.
also just kind of like a run at you gorilla.
He is, but he's got tools that are different though.
Yeah, he's got interesting tools, but they're interesting gorillas.
Yeah, Yin and Yang are kind of very gorilla.
Like Makoto, who is an uninteresting gorilla, is just like, dash forward, I have 3 choices. If you're wrong, I will do half of your health.
But yeah, I played Yang, and whenever we played Third Strike, I did play Yang because I am immensely interested in Yang. And then also, when I was playing Street Fighter 4, I switched between Yang and Judy, the Taekwondo spider girl. I didn't like Judy as much in Street Fighter 5 though. But yeah, Yang has kind of been a long-standing one for me. I played a little bit of him in Street Fighter 4. I just said that. What's wrong with me? But yeah,
You're quizzing our viewers.
Yeah, did you remember what I said like 5 seconds ago, listeners?
Yeah. Enter in on your remotes.
Yes or no? What is it?
Yeah. It's a yes or no. You don't know what correlates to what. It's a tough question for sure. But no, I basically skipped modern Street Fighter. 6 is the most excited I've been about a Street Fighter game, really. Since I played Third Strike,
too.
basically.
Yeah, I'm excited for Street Fighter 6 as well. Although I don't know exactly who I would play, because I don't know. I mean, Jamie looks cool, but there might be other cooler characters that I might want to play instead. But Jamie currently is very interesting. I like Chun-Li is also there as well. Those are the characters that I have a desire to play of the 5 that have been revealed so far.
Yeah, I mean, of the base reveal, then it's like the only one I'm interested in is Ryu because I kind of like Ryu. But I'm not that excited about it. None of the Street Fighter characters that I like have been actually revealed, and very few of them are in the leak either.
Mm-hmm. Like Makoto. Who else?
I'm a big fan of Dudley too.
Wait, I thought you said, but in Third Strike, when we were playing Third Strike, where I mentioned it, I said, I kind of want to learn Dudley, and you said, I like the design of Dudley, but I don't like playing him. I think.
Oh yeah, I don't like playing him, but I'm gonna try every time. It's like how in every fighting game I play, I try to play the puppet character, and I always hate them.
Makes sense. I would be interested in. I've been interested in Third Strike Dudley, but I don't know. He'd be cool, but he wasn't in that league, so maybe he's not going to be there.
Yeah, maybe
you have
not.
A different.
I don't know. Give Capcom enough time, and then they'll DLC in like 3/4 of every canonical Street Fighter character.
I mean, let's see. In Street Fighter 4, they brought a bunch of Street Fighter 3 characters back, and then in Street Fighter 5, it very much felt like, okay, we're going to put in all of the Street Fighter 3 characters that weren't in 4. I don't even know who they were. Were there any Street Fighter 3 characters? Ibuki was in Ibuki was in both 4 and 5 though. Why is Ibuki so special?
I don't know, man. He just gets put in.
Who else the heck was in there?
He happened to be around, and Papa Capcom is like, hey, you want to be in another fighting game?
God damn, okay, so Ibuki. What other Street Fighter 3 character was in 5? I'm blanking out for some reason. I just don't know. Dudley wasn't in it, because he would be a big deal. Urian was in
I remember
5.
Dudley was in.
Yeah, because Dudley has such a presence to him that you know when Dudley is there, but he wasn't. Urian is in Street Fighter 5. Gil is in Street Fighter 5. Ibuki, but okay, Ibuki doesn't count because she was in both. But Gil, Urian. God, I'm just trying to remember the Street Fighter 3 roster, honestly.
3 roster?
Because a lot of the ones in the 3 roster were in 4, and they weren't in 5. Like Hugo, Elena, the twins.
There's the twins. God, I have no idea.
None of them were in. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, there was Oro.
Oro was in Street Fighter 5.
Sean.
You're right. Sean. Wait, no, Sean was not, but Laura.
No, I'm
was.
saying about characters in 3.
Okay.
Did Elena ever come back?
Elena was in 4. Alex was in 5. Let's see. Alex was in 5, but not 4. Dudley was in 4. Elena was in 4. Hugo was in 4. Ibuki is in both 4 and 5. Oro's in 5. Sean's sister is in 5. Urian's in 5. Yun and Yang are only in 4. Gil is in. Necro has never come back. Q is technically represented in 5 by G.
Different letter, same character.
There's a couple things that are. G is interesting though. Makoto was in 4 but not 5. Remy has not been in either of them.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I think it's just that it's the Street Fighter game that I've spent the most time with. But 3 is like the one that I feel like had the biggest impact on me, and it's like the most different than any of the other ones. So it's kind of cool to see him going back in that direction. It's something I genuinely never thought would happen. If that like really is what they're trying to do.
With 6?
Yeah, with 6 trying to veer more towards between like 3 and 5.
Actually, did that leak? I don't even remember who was in that leak, but I don't remember a whole lot of Street Fighter 3 characters in that.
Oh leak. No, I mean like design of like the fighting game systems internally. Like with all the parries and stuff, and that it like is more punishing.
Yeah. There are no Street Fighter 3 characters in the leaked roster for 6. Not a single
Yeah,
one.
not a specific one for sure.
That's interesting. I mean, there are just
None that are,
numbers.
like aren't in every game.
I mean,
It's like Ryu's a Street Fighter 3 character.
nah, he's just a Street Fighter character.
Yeah.
Ryu, Ken, Zangief, Zalsim, Honda, Blanka, Guile, Chun-Li. So they have all 8 of the World Warriors.
Yeah.
No Shadowloo characters. Unless you count Cammy, but she's not Shadowloo anymore. DJ is coming back. I guess it's just okay to discuss this now, but who's gonna flag us? Rashid is coming back. Rashid in 5 became like an instant classic. Because I like Rashid a lot. He's a very interesting character guy.
Yeah, he's pretty cool for sure.
Judy also kind of was just an immediate hit too when she was in Street Fighter 4. Ed, I'm not sure why Ed is there. Ed is kind of like okay. They could have chosen an actually interesting boxing character, but they chose to just put Ed.
Their goal is to avoid Dudley at all costs, and I don't know why.
I mean, maybe it's because Dudley doesn't fit the overall aesthetic that they're going for Street Fighter 6, where everyone's a lot more. There's a lot more
looking.
There's a bit more grunge and street and hip hop vibes that I don't think Dudley doesn't really give that kind of grunge vibe. And there's something about all the designs that I see here that
he's too honest, good, and pure of a person.
Yeah. Unless they do well, Street Fighter 3, he was kind of more arrogant, gutter trash and all that. Gutter rubbish.
Yeah.
Because I think in this game they're definitely trying to make characters, if they're going to go with a legacy character, they need to fit the aesthetic of Street Fighter 6, which is very street hip hop and grunge.
Yeah.
I guess Ed fits because they redesigned him to not be a freaking Shadow Syndicate neo-Nazi looking character.
Always a plus.
Yeah. Because I mean, the only exception to these lists, actually now I think about it, some characters don't look very grunge or hip hop. Chun-Li does not look very grunge or hip hop.
No.
Ryu, he's grungy, but he ain't he's not hip hop.
He just looks unwashed.
Okay. There's a difference between grunge and looking grungy, and Ryu is grungy. He is not grunge.
He just looks dirty.
Yeah. Ken looks grunge for sure.
Yeah. I think of like redesigns of old characters. I think Ken's one of the better ones for sure.
Yeah. His design is definitely made
I like how Guile looks too.
I get what they're going for. I'm not sold yet on Guile's design.
You're not in on the
game.
Guile design? You're not an advocate of modern mode Guile?
I don't think so. I think modern mode Guile is too boring looking. He's only got one tone color on him. It's just that pilot suit. They could have done some. I don't know. The fatigues. The fatigues are iconic, but I think they're trying to go for something more practical that he would probably fight in. I mean, actually, no. Now I think about it, I think they're just trying to not have him in fatigues all the time.
Yeah.
But he's just blue now.
He's the blue guy.
Chun-Li is already the blue, but he's not. He was never associated with the color blue. They made Chun-Li blue, Cammy sporting blue again.
And now that I think about it, there's a lot of blue characters here.
Luke is blue. Ken is half blue.
Oh, the blue's taking over.
Yeah, what the heck?
Next thing we knew, Akuma's gonna be blue.
His gi is kind of like a navy purple. No, it's
That's
navy.
true.
Yeah.
Almost blue. Fear.
What the heck was with all the blue characters? If I look at some of these leaked characters too, some of them got a bit of blue on them. Why is there so much blue?
Capcom likes blue today.
There's blue, and the second most dominant color I can find is red. blue and I mean that makes sense because
Those are like the pretty colors.
striking colors. Yeah,
They really look like colors.
and it's so rare to see. I mean, I don't. I guess is that more common? Is it more common for characters to have like a blue or red main palette than other colors?
I mean, they're just like the primary colors, you know.
Yeah, because if I look down this list, like Jamie, despite having red in his design, he's predominantly a yellow
I mean,
clothes character.
now that I think about it, maybe like with all the busy backgrounds and everything, and like all the effects being a bit more extreme than in previous Street Fighter games, from what I've seen,
Yeah.
like, demo gameplay, they wanted the characters to be more primary colors to always be visible because there's like giant purple paint splats that just happen, man. It's like
Well,
it couldn't hurt to have bright red pants.
Well, in that case, I think it's fine if they. What if they want characters to have different colors? This was a big thing when I was like thinking about the colors I wanted for our fighting game characters because I didn't want everyone to. I was really like, oh no, should we have multiple red characters or characters that are associated with red, or is that too many? It's something that I was like seriously thinking about because I didn't want there to be like, oh man, they're red, this person's also red, and well, look, they're red too. Because I think if you have multiple red colors, if you red characters, sorry, I feel like suddenly it's harder to associate with that color with that character's being the red character.
I mean, honestly, thinking about what characters are in the roster, I feel like there's very few characters we have that are like very boldly and predominantly one color. Usually, it's like 2 or 3 main ones.
Yeah, but I want them to, have a sort of distinctness to them, and having everyone have a sort of this specific, like a different color associated with them kind of helps with that. Like, this is the blue character, this is the pink character, and this is the red character. Right, and stuff like that, or the green character, or what have you.
Yeah, I do think if you have, like, especially a primary color or something, it's good to only have one primary color character.
I'm actually looking at the DJ design again, and I'm kind of torn on it. DJ looks good. It's not... DJ was always associated with the color orange because his pants were orange. Yeah. But now he's just decked out and, hey, look, I'm from Jamaica.
Yeah, he's, he's, I'd say, generally colorful instead of yellow now.
Yeah. He's got a lot more green. And yeah, he's got green and yellow. But then look, you have Blanka, who... He's got a yellow neckerchief now.
Yeah, now he's the yellow character, right?
Blanka can't be the yellow character. It's statistically impossible if you design Blanka the way he's supposed to look for him to become a yellow character.
Sure, look, it's a yellow.
He will always be green. Although actually in like Street Fighter 2, I'm pretty sure he wasn't green. He was like a swamp green, like a swampy yellow green, siding more on yellow. How the heck did he become just green, though?
He's a weird swamp creature. I don't know, man.
Yeah. But still...
I don't pretend to understand the complexities of how just, like, a character that's a literal goblin just is somehow in Street Fighter.
Is there something about, like, the Amazon River and wild men? Is that where this Brazilian character... Is that what they got when they put Blanka in the game? Is that... Does Brazil or the Amazon River have a history of wild men?
I don't know, man. Or one designer just like was working on a different fighting game character design. They're like, "Come on in." They're like, "But I already been working on something for this different game." They're like, "Well, what do you got? What do you got?" And they're like, "Well, I got this like goblin creature, but this doesn't look like it fit with Street Fighter." Like, nah. Just make him from Brazil, dude.
Yeah,
like, what the fuck, man?
Blanka totally looks like a Brazilian person. Yeah. Oh, I've mentioned this before, and I get it to a certain extent, but there's always like something that's kind of off about Street Fighter designs when they're just like an off the cuff, like, yeah, this thing, when it's based off of, especially if it's based off of like a stereotype or something like that, like Blanka.
Yeah, it's like I get the legacy of it, but I honestly wouldn't mind if they like just kind of stopped making characters strictly be country origins.
Yeah. That is a thing.
Or at the very least put a bit more effort into it.
Yeah, make it
because it really feels like it's one of two things. They either think like Britain, and then they're like, all right, this is the most British character we could possibly design. Or they're like, this is a cool character, and they're like, I guess they're from Russia,
Yeah. Oh my, I'm just thinking about, I don't even know what I was gonna say anymore. I mean, they could have just, I would have taken out, I mean, Blanka, he's a world warrior, so I guess I have to keep him in, but I wouldn't be mad if they just replaced Blanka with even Laura Matsuda as the Brazilian representative. Because
just put in another Brazil character, dude. It's
they
weird for him to be
just
the
put
only-
in Laura. Laura was okay. Just give us Laura again. Because I doubt they want to have the Shoto whose entire gimmick is that he's just the bad Shoto, so Sean shouldn't be in the game.
Yeah, Sean is not there, or some DLCs in the future.
Yeah, and I don't know, they could do some interesting stuff with Sean. Sean can create his own little Ansatz Ken style because he's different.
Hey, if it worked for Dan, it could work for Sean.
Yeah, because in Third Strike, I was actually watching a video recently about like why Sean was so bad, and they were comparing him to like, all right, Ryu. I think it might have been like his like Tatsu or his Hadoken or something. I think it's probably the Tatsumaki. It's probably the Tatsumaki Senpuku because I think that's the move. I don't think Sean can fire a Hadoken.
I thought he had a very, very short range one. So
Possibly. But it was essentially like there was something about Ryu's Tatsu, like Ryu's Tatsu, that it was like it's good in this for this reason, but it has this drawback. And Ken's was it has this advantage, but it also has this drawback. And then Sean's Tatsumaki has both drawbacks and neither of the benefits of Ryu or Ken's Tatsu.
It's the worst of both worlds.
And like, what? Why they do that?
It's little things like that make me think that before like Street Fighter 4, there was like no concept of game balance or character design. They just put in numbers, man.
Well, I guess in a way you can argue that Sean being the way he is he was designed for narrative reasons. He's supposed to be an inexperienced pupil. He's supposed to be Ken's pupil. He's inexperienced in the ways of Ansatz Ken. Mm-hmm. And so, if you show that he's just worse than both Ryu and Ken, who are like, masters of this martial art, you show that he's like learning because he's not as good as he's not as good as either of them. But in the new age where you kind of want to have characters be good in their own right, but like maybe they don't have the same advantages as other characters, I feel like that's become more prevalent, and I can see things you could do with Sean where he becomes more interesting because he's not set in his ways and he puts his own spin on Ansatz Ken. And I can see that being what he does. But they decided that he's still learning Ansatz Ken, so he's just bad at it.
Yeah, damn.
They could do some interesting things. He could, if he had a way to just imbue a basketball with ki, then he could either
imagine his Hadoken was a bouncing basketball that was like faster, but like had bad spots. That'd be really cool.
What if he had an interesting thing where his Hadoken, because he's using a basketball, it arcs, where he has to throw it in an arc, so it has a different kind of trajectory than other Hadoken. And because of that, he might have like a shallow arc, and he might have a higher arc and he could have an anti-air projectile that's a basketball. Oh, that'd be so cool.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting thing to do. And like, of course, I'm not sure what you would do for the other things. Honestly, I'm thinking about like, what if he took Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and just incorporated it into Ansatz Ken?
Yeah, I mean, they would really have to just fully redesign the character, basically.
Yeah, and then you're like, well, then he's not Sean anymore, is he? But Sean was bad, or something.
No,
like
it's
that.
a time skip. It makes Sean like learned now.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd be interested to see how Laura's doing in this world, because she's supposed to be the one who inherited the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu dojo, because Sean wanted to learn Ansatz Ken from Ken.
Sean's a fanboy.
He is. He's a very big fanboy. But yeah. I don't know. They could do some interesting things with that. And then you wouldn't, and I guess we went on this tangent because we're like, all right, what could you do to just get rid of Blanka entirely? Is that what we were doing?
Sorry for the two Blanka fans out there.
Yeah, Because the other thing is that, for the most part, every single other character that I can think of in Street Fighter, besides Blanka, was supposed to be a representative of some martial art that exists in the world. Even Hakan.
Yeah, Blanka's just like...
He's just a wild
fucking
man.
somersault jutsu, I don't fucking know. He just runs at them. He knows goblin martial arts, man.
Even freaking Hakan was a better representation of some martial arts style than Blanka was.
Yeah, a bad representation, but still, like, existent-ish. Instead of, I don't know, electric and goblin style.
It's based as little as it can in reality, but it's still based in reality. That's how I argue that Hakan is, like, halfway decent.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise, it kind of... Blanka just feels...
Blanka just looking like a Yu-Gi-Oh card, man.
Yeah, Blanka feels out of place compared to literally everyone else. Because if everyone else is supposed to fulfill...
He has a bandana, so he's street now. Shut up.
Style. Ugh, it's a neckerchief. It could... I don't know, is that street? I mean, it kind of is.
Oh, it's street, baby. Yellow.
The rest of him is still pretty just
still
faithful OG Blanka. It's more faithful than what they did in Street Fighter V, where they just made his hair longer and it looked so stupid.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's not the greatest.
DJ grew his hair out. He's no longer tying his dreads back. He's letting them just fly out, explode, but he's holding them back with a headband, it looks like. I can't tell. It's really hard to see what DJ looks like. It's too blurry. Oh, he is wearing a headband, yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, his little medallion says Maximum on it.
Maximum? I can't even read that.
I looked at a close-up picture of him, and I see that his necklace, his gold chain has a medallion on it that says Maximum on it. And I'm glad that little homage is there. Because I was like, well, but his pants don't say Maximum anymore. He's not DJ. But no, they made sure to incorporate the Maximum somewhere. Yeah.
He's still the Maximum he could be.
Oh, he's got headphones, too. That's new. He's a regular Rastafari. I'm not sure if he's a Rasta, but he's looking more like it, for sure. I'm interested in seeing what they do with DJ. Because
he's a cool character, for sure.
Yeah. God, we were talking about Blanka, but I remember there being talk of the original character that DJ was supposed to be, or some Jamaican representative that someone drew up back when Street Fighter 2. I think DJ was introduced in Super Street Fighter 2, if I'm not mistaken. And in that, the original idea they had for their Jamaican character apparently was a lot more racist and more of he was much more of a racist caricature than
DJ.
Well, if you think DJ is not, I wouldn't say that DJ's a racist caricature, but I guess the thing is that the original idea for the character who would be the Jamaican representative was a racist caricature.
Was significantly worse.
Yes, much worse. I'm pretty sure it looked like, I don't know, the typical, I mean not the typical, but when you think of the Japanese representation of a black person, I think that's probably what they had in mind when they were going to put the character who DJ replaced.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. This ain't the best.
Wait,
I googled original DJ content. I
Really?
googled original DJ concept, and there's some pictures that looks worse.
I thought the concept art never reached the light of day.
I don't know if this is actually it, but it's like I'm seeing a prevailing thing, and it's definitely more of a character. It's almost Mr. T even.
Because I think that one of the things that someone said was that the original concept never actually, no art about it was actually released, because someone, I think it was someone on the state side or west side of Capcom
put a stop to it.
They were like, no.
Well, regardless of what Google is generally telling me it is, it's not the best. Oh no, it's on the Street Fighter wiki, so maybe it is verified.
It's definitely verified, but I don't think the actual
Original
sketch...
sketch of it says original sketch of DJ from interview is here.
Really?
Yeah. He's got an earring, a glove that says "Bam." His pants say "Man."
Where the
and he's
heck
got
is
like
it?
a Mr. T haircut with like a rat tail.
Where original sketch of DJ?
I typed in original DJ concept and it gave me a thing.
Because are you looking at the one that says it's the one by D. James Goddard? Because that's the...
Yeah, I am.
No, that's the one that replaced the racist caricature.
Ah, I see. So this is even the more muted one.
Yes. So this is the replacement concept. This is the DJ.
Yeah.
D. James Goddard was the guy who said, "Oh no," when they showed us the original concept for DJ, and then they came out, and then he's like, "No, what if he looked like this instead?"
Mm.
And yeah, and that's why DJ is DJ now.
I see. Well,
God, imagine if they... I'm dreading if they, like, did that... If that concept actually went out and that character became a classic character, how different the landscape or the environment might have been. I'm honestly dreading it. I don't want that to be the future that we live in.
yeah, I won't say Street Fighter characters are perfect. There's a lot of them that are pretty bad.
Yeah.
They have a fairly good track record overall. There's high highs and low lows. Well, either way, after yelling about Street Fighter once again, we're out of time. Probably because we spent the entire time yelling about Street Fighter.
Street Fighter's on the brain right now.
Capcom has done a great marketing job, I'll give them that.
Yeah.
You can watch or listen to us live Saturday at Twitch TV, Shadowplay Games, if we ever do that at 3.
Yep.
If you can't make it, you can watch the recordings. They're up Mondays at noon on wherever the hell you watch podcasts. I don't know. Youths these days, am I right?
What?
Or YouTube also, youtube.com, Breaktime Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at ShatterpointGS if you want. Next week, whoever hosts will host, and they'll introduce you. Unlike me, who's only saying goodbye to you right now. Alright, till then, break time over.